All right, so today's lesson is on 2.3, which is solving type 3 equations. And before we start looking at solving type 3 equations, we just need to look at combining like terms and what exactly are like terms. So when I talk about like terms, these are going to be terms that have identical variable parts. That means they'll have the same variable and same exponent. So for example, if we were looking at this 3x plus 4x, we can simplify this further and add the numerical coefficients, which is the 3 and the 4. That gives me 7. But since we're adding, and these two are the like terms, we end up with 7x. All right, so we combine our like terms by keeping the like term, and all we're doing is adding or subtracting the numerical coefficients. All right, so let's say we have this example here. We have 3x plus 4x plus 9. Therefore, 3x and 4x are like terms. They both have the variable x. The 9 does not contain an x beside it. All right, this is not a like term with 3x and 4x. So therefore, when we simplify this, this would become 7x plus 9. So just another example here. We have 3x plus 4y plus 5x. 3x and 3x would be like terms, and we can combine those together. So that would become 8x and then plus 4y. All right, so this would be the simplified form of this expression here. All right, so let's continue then with looking at type 3 equations. So when we have type 3 equations, you're going to find there is more than one group of variables. So variables are, again, the letters. So when we're solving a type 3 equation, first we have to collect and place all our variables on the left side of the equal sign, or left side of the equation, and put all our constants, which are our numbers, on the right side of the equal sign, or the right side of the equation. And we do that by doing opposite operations. So for example, in these examples, we have x as our variable. So if we have this x on the right hand side, what we want to do is bring it over to the left hand side by using the opposite operation. All right, and if we are taking a number and we're adding it or subtracting it on the left side of the equation, we're going to bring it over to the right side by using opposite operations. All right, so let's take a look at our first example. So we have 5x minus 3 equals 2x plus 15. So we want to collect all our x's on one side of the equation and get all our numbers on the other side of the equation. So that means we have to take this 2x and we need to move this whole 2x over to the left-hand side. And you can do that by subtracting all of 2x. All right, so you have to subtract the 2x. And I'm going to subtract it from the 5x. All right, because those are like terms. So what I see now on my right side is 2x minus 2x. That's gone. Here on my left side, I have 5x minus 2x, which leaves me with 3x. Then I still have the minus 3, and I have it equal to now 15. Now it looks like a type 2 equation, which we just focused on last class. All right, so now we're going to solve this like a type 2 equation. So we're going to do any addition subtraction first. So we're going to take this minus 3. The opposite of that is adding 3. So we're going to add 3 to both sides. Okay, negative 3 plus 3, that gives me 0 there. So I'm left with 3x is equal to 15 plus 3, which is 18. Now it looks like a type 1 equation. So 3x is equal to 18. The opposite of multiplying here is to divide by 3. Divide by 3 on both sides. 3x divided by 3 leaves me with x. And then 18 divided by 3, which leaves me with 6. Okay, so let's look at our second example. So look at your left-hand side of the equation, right? So here's our equal sign. So left-hand side of the equation here. This is our right side of the equation. So before we start, look at your left-hand side and your right-hand side and see if you can collect any like terms first before you start moving things over or across the equal sign. So here I have a 6x and I have a positive 3x. So I can collect those together here and make it into 9x. So now it is 9x minus 4.3 is equal to 86.2 minus the 1x. All right, so all I've done so far is I just collected the two terms together. And because they're on the same side of the equal sign, I can just collect them together by just adding them. So 6x plus 3x, which gave me the 9x. Now I have the 1x, it's the minus 1x, and I need to bring it over the equal sign, and I need to bring it over to the left-hand side. So now I have to do an opposite operation. So I have to add 1x and add 1x. All right, so now it's gone on this side. On this side, I now have 10x minus 4.3, and it's equal to 86.2. So now this looks like a type 2 equation. So I'm going to do the opposite here of subtracting, which is adding 4.3, add 4.3 to both sides. So now on my left side, I have 10x is equal to 90.5. Now it looks like a type 1 equation. Now I just have to divide by 10 on both sides. Okay, that will now leave me with x is equal to, divide these, and I get 9.05. 9.05. All right, so the first example here, we have 16 plus 45x equals 39x plus 310. So we want to collect our x's together and put our numbers together and put those on the right hand side, put our x's on the left hand side. So because we have a 39x, it's a positive 39x, we're going to subtract 39x to both sides. All right. And notice I'm subtracting from the 45x here. So on my left hand side now I have 16 and then 45x minus 39x, which gives me 6x. That's a positive 6x. So plus 6x, which equals to 310. All right, so now it looks like a type 2 equation. We're going to subtract the 16 on both sides of the equation. That leaves me with 6x is equal to 310 minus 16, which is 294. And now I'm going to divide by 6 on both sides. So that leaves me with x is equal to 49. All right, so in this question, we have 6x plus 6x plus 360 all on the left-hand side, and is equal to 900. Because we have an x, 6x, and a 6x here on the left-hand side, you can collect those together before we start moving things over the equal sign. So 6x plus 6x, that gives me 12x. Plus 360 is equal to 900. All right, so that would be the first step, is collecting the like terms that you can on the same side of the equal sign. Now it looks like a type 2 equation, so we would subtract 360 on both sides. All right, so now we end up with 12x is equal to 540. And then we would divide by 12 on both sides. And that leaves me with x is equal to 45. So for our last example here, we have 7x minus 3 minus 2x, and it's equal to 8 plus 4. So I've underlined here, we can collect 7x minus 2x together. I'm just going to collect the other two with a different color, like that. Okay, so on my left-hand side, because I can collect 7x minus 2x, 7x minus 2x, it's 5x. And then I have the minus 3, and then it's equal to 8 plus 4, which is 12. All right, so once you've collected everything, now you can see it looks like a type 2 equation. So now we'll go ahead, do the opposite of minus 3, which is add 3, and we are left with 5x on left side is equal to 15 on the right side. And that looks like type 1 equation. So now 5x, we do the opposite there of multiplying. We're going to divide by 5, and we have to do it to the other side. We have to divide by 5. So that leaves me with x is equal to 15 divided by 5, which is 3. Okay, so we have 1 minus x is equal to x minus 1. All right, so when you look at the left side, you have 1 minus x. We can't collect anything there. We look on our right side is x minus 1, so we can't collect anything there. So now let's go ahead and start moving our x's over to the left side and our numbers to the right side. So we have a positive x here, and I need to move it to the left side, so I'm going to subtract x, and I'm going to subtract x. All right, and remember, it's a 1. There's a 1 there. It's just not shown. So now I have, on my left side, I have 1, and it's basically a negative 1 minus 1. So if you put that in your calculator, or if you remember integers, that's going to give me a negative 2, negative 2x, which is equal to negative 1. So this 1 here I have to move over, so I'm going to subtract 1, subtract 1. Okay, so now we were at subtracting the 1. So 1 minus 1 on the left side, that's gone. So we're left with a negative 2x is equal to negative 1 minus 1, right? So if we look up here again, negative 1, so if we have negative 1 minus 1, it's the same thing as adding negative 1 plus negative 1, which gives me negative 2. So here now I have negative 2x is equal to negative 2. All right, and our last step here now would be to divide by negative 2 on both sides. That leaves me with x is equal to 1. Negative 2 divided by negative 2 leaves me with 1. All right, so let's take a look at 25x minus 50 plus 15x equals negative 50. So when we look at this on our left side, we can collect together 25x and 15x together. Before we start moving anything across the equal sign, we can collect those together. So 25x plus 15, that gives me 40x. And then I still have the minus 50, and it's equal to negative 50. All right, so now it looks like a type 2 equation. So we're going to add 50 to both sides. And we're adding 50 here. And we're left with 40x is equal to 0. Negative 50 plus 50 is 0. All right, if you want to finish here, you can, but we know it's going to be equal to 0. We're going to divide by 40, and we know 0 divided by 4, the answer will be 0. Our last question here. So we're going to look at our left side of the equation. We have x plus x plus x plus x. All right, so that means it's 1x plus 1x plus 1x plus 1x, which gives me 4x. All right, but on the left side, we can also collect together the 4, the 8, and the 16. All right, so because they are just the numbers, there's no variable to them. So 4 plus 8 plus 16, which gives me 28. So we end up with 4x plus 28 is equal to 96. All right, so all we've done is simplified the left side just by collecting our like terms. Then we can go ahead and start solving for x. So we're going to subtract 28 on both sides. Okay, so we have 96 minus 28, which gives me 68. And last step is to divide by 4. And that gives me 17. So x is equal to 17. So homework today is 2.3, part A, and you're just working on the odds.